Hello again, and welcome back to the Think Rugby podcast. Myself and Andy Moe. Apologies for the slight hiatus. I've been extremely busy, same as Andy, with work commitments. Unfortunately, just the way it's been. But we are back, and we are going to discuss the main talking point of the weekend from all kind of fixtures from the Quarter Nation series. We'll mainly kind of digest into the Scotland kind of facade and what's been going on there. So, Andy, what's your initial reaction from the game away from it?
What the fuck happened?
Scotland imploded just like they tend to do, albeit they don't usually implode from that kind of scoreline ahead. I've never seen that, well, I have seen it happen, but not in a very long time. On the professional stage, or the international stage, when you're looking to, especially for the rankings for the World Cup, and get many points as possible, and also show you are using this golden generation, or putting this golden generation to good use. It's completely unacceptable what just happened for Scotland. Who's to blame? That's up for debate tonight. We'll be discussing that. For me, it could be potentially a few things. Is it the coaching staff? Is it the players? Are the players just not good enough? Is it a mentality thing? Is it a fitness thing? Is it the fitness department? What could it be? It could be any of the above for me.
In the interest for everybody, we should take it back. So, for the context, Scotland are 40-0 up at half-time. They come out in the second half, 21-0 up, and with around 25 minutes to go or whatever, they are 21 up, and the vast majority of teams at that level get another try or another, 3 points or something through the sticks. They're able to see the game out.
Yeah.
Scotland did the unthinkable and they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. I have never seen anything like it before, and I still can't think of the right words. That's how much in disbelief I am about the whole situation.
Embarrassing for me. Certain players just did not step up. Some players did, and you know what? And I know you don't fully support his selection in the team or his kind of influence in the team, but I think Ewan Ashman actually probably was one of Scotland's best players in the park. You might actually agree. Ewan Ashman was absolutely phenomenal. Not just because of his tries, but he was generally this everywhere. His ball carrying was what kind of led Scotland from the front in that first half solely, but was a main kind of influence in the Scotland's kind of front foot kind of build-up play. So Ashman played pretty well. Russell played absolutely fantastic, just like picking holes for fun for Dempsey's try. And then the second half, I don't know what the hell happened. Was it complacency with Russell? Was it other players around him's complacency? He couldn't get five in. Honestly, it's really hard to kind of pinpoint exactly what went on. But there were so many good things, especially in that first half, to go in without conceding a point in the first half is impressive itself. On being 21 points up with 55 minutes gone, with 25 minutes to play, it showed Scotland were on the driver's seat and well in control. A couple of subs went on. Would you think maybe shift momentum when Hutchinson came off for Duhan van der Merwe? I have no idea what the kind of thought process was with having Duhan on the bench. I don't know why you put Kyle Steyn to 13 in a game like that. Okay, maybe at club level, but at national level, very, very silly, especially when there were other options, more actual options that could have been picked that weren't. So I don't know why they went with Van der Merwe on the bench. I just think the whole selection was silly. And did you also notice, Andy, George Horne, he never got on, did he?
No, I was about to touch on that. George Horne never got on. Tom Jordan never got on.
Yeah. What the hell? What? Why? Rugby's a 23-man game.
Especially at that level nowadays, yeah. And
yeah,
you were alluded to it there. I think it was a lack of patience that cost Scotland. Finn Russell, honestly, I thought he had cut it out of his game. And I thought he was far more patient and tried to do the build-up. I don't know if it's... Yeah, he's had a remarkable autumn. Blair Kinghorn, again, absolutely fucking lousy. I have never been so frustrated with one single player after two massive games.
See, in terms of Kinghorn, here's one for you. Do you remember what happened to Stuart Hogg and what happened to Ali Price after they went on the Lions tour? They just couldn't get their form back after that. It's almost like the peak and just started to dip. Let's hope.
How old is Kinghorn, though?
He's about 27, 28. He's a bit younger. Well, to be fair, Price was probably the same age as Kinghorn is now. At the time, he was in the Lions as well.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think
It seems like
I
a
think it
cursed.
was well. I mean, Finn Russell, I think, was pretty poor after the last Lions tour in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously went and fell out with Townsend, and well, we'll come back to
Yeah,
that falling out. Yeah, it took a moment for Russell to get back to his very best and to get, that was him dipping after,
yeah.
being at a good level. And right
Mm-hmm.
now, well, before the weekend, I would have said, yeah, he's easily the best fly half in the world, but
Yeah.
he cannot get this fucking careless streak out of him.
Ridiculous, and it was so unforced as well. And the fact that it led to a try eventually, but also a yellow card for Kinghorn as well. It's criminal. Kinghorn did good himself. Actually managed to get back that quickly to make the cover tackle. But honestly, like it's it's one of them when you look back and think it reminds you of what it's like to actually be Scottish, and it kind of reminds you we live so much off hope for so long, and hope for what? Literally for what? Forget the Six Nations. There's no way. There's no way you're coming close to Six Nations. If you think just beating England in Six Nations, which I don't think is going to happen this year, given the way England have been kind of fighting as of late, if you think that's going to be enough to save whatever, salvage some dignity, then no, you're wrong. What's going to be good enough is winning at least 3 games, if not 4, which I can't. Well, let's put it like this: I can't see you beating England, I can't see you beating Ireland, and I can't see you beating France. Maybe the other two. I'd struggle with Italy as well, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, well, Italy are no mugs, and I suppose we can maybe come on to it now. Townsend's never beaten Ireland. He's never beaten the All Blacks, never beaten the Springboks, and with the way in which they performed, the mentality of the players, it looked like they'd never ever beaten the Pumas before.
Yeah.
There's having a soft underbelly, and then there's complete capitulation, which is what that was.
I would like to say take nothing away from Argentina, but take nothing away to the fact they capitalised on Scotland's mistakes, like big time. Take nothing away from that. And that does show the kind of high class Argentina's got. Argentina were missing a couple of key boys, but it shows their depth. Argentina's got depth. There you go. That's another point. Argentina's actually got depth in their squad. What Scotland got, well, Scotland did have a little bit of depth, but decided to keep it on the bench and not play him at all. I cannot believe Tom Jordan never came on, or George Horn. I always say this: if you're looking at one scrum half, especially in Scotland, a player to come on and change a game because of like the electric kind of pace and the kind of dynamism, who'd you put on? It's George Horn. George
But
Horn changes
equally,
games.
well, George Horn maybe does change games, and I'm a big fan of George Horn. But that at the
Mm.
weekend was 100% after that first try was conceded by Scotland. Not the game to put him on. He's the type of player to unlock a game, to like unlock defences. He's not there to steady the ship. That's where I think a lot of folk have really, and we could see it, and I saw it on the TV. The crowd has really turned against Townsend now. Like the ideal time after Kinghorn got sinbinned or whatever,
Yeah,
get him the fuck. Get Tom Jordan on. A lot of people
yeah,
were calling for Tom Jordan to be playing instead of Kinghorn for this
yeah.
game, but for whatever reason, Townsend opted not to play him. And you think, well, he's maybe showing him too much loyalty. That's not it. It's purely a tactical thing. If it was down to loyalty or thinking of the player's mentality, he
Mm.
would never have dropped Van der Marve.
Yes, yes, it's very strange. I also, again, I've mentioned before, I just don't get the Van der Merwe kind of substitution whatsoever. When you're chasing a game, you don't bring on a Duhan. There was no front ball. Like literally, like in terms of generating front ball, there was none. I mean, I'm sorry, Carreras and I can't remember the other winger's name. The 14 had an absolute stormer as well. They wouldn't struggle against Duhan. Duhan would struggle against them. We mentioned about his defensive liabilities. They are the two prime candidates to absolutely dance around Duhan van der Merwe in defence. Okay, battle like height and everything a bit different for catching the balls, but maybe that's why Van der Merwe didn't even start, was because Argentina actually like to kick quite a lot. They like to kick from hand quite a lot. That's probably why Stain was starting, which again shows another flaw in Duhan's game for being so tall. So again, it doesn't make sense why Van der Merwe was in the squad at all, because if that's the case, then just have like a Tom Jordan coming on, because Tom Jordan's very good under the high ball. Have a King Hong going to the, maybe slide onto the wing, and Tom Jordan to 15. Again, it's just so silly. Like, what the hell was it for? Mentality, like you mentioned, for certain players. Well, I think for Duhan it certainly was.
A lot of people, after the All Blacks lost, like as I say, it was just like, right, okay, we've got the flamboyant types. We've got the types, as we've been saying, that can unlock a game, unlock defences.
Yep.
Sometimes that needs to be parked, and you want somebody solid, like a Tom Jordan, just to come in and be like, right, okay, we're going to be solid, you know, we're going to have a solid base, no weaknesses, no cracks, and then we're going to build from there. And Scotland have got enough quality in the rest of their backs to easily get good attacking play going without exposing themselves too much. It really just shows how desperate Townsend was, I feel. You know, Van der Merwe, we were already struggling defensively, and you bring on Van der Merwe to try and expose yourself even more in a defensive point of view for the sake of trying to get a try.
Yeah.
But that's
That's
a fact. The autumn is gone now. It's went from being barely salvageable to being a complete fucking disaster. Doesn't matter what happens this weekend against Tonga. The autumn's gone.
Yeah,
That's it.
I don't think I can see a very, very empty BT Murrayfield this next week. A lot of people not bothering their arses. The tickets to Tonga were cheap as hell anyway. A lot of people aren't going to bother now. What is it? It's not even going to be a full strength team. It'll be shameful. You know something? It'll be shameful if there's any starting, like regular first starting international player in that side to play Tonga. They started the tournament against USA playing a half and half kind of team, half like kind of second string, half fully kind of strength team. Absolutely tanned their asses. Everybody like, oh great, look at us. And then look, we went and lost to All Blacks, who were a man down for almost half the game, and then went and just blew a lead against the Pumas, who trying to give nothing away to the Pumas, like give them some credit. Like, they have beaten the All Blacks, they've beaten Australia, they've beaten the Lions, they've beaten Scotland, and this is all since summer. They are a very good established side, but no team should be losing by 21 points ahead. Ever. No matter whether it's amateur or whether it's professional. It's absolutely ridiculous losing. And it wasn't just 22 points conceded, it was 33 in 25 minutes, conceding 33 points. What the hell? How many like potential choices were there to go for the posts in that second half, do you think, for Scotland?
Well, they did eventually get another 3 and make it 24. But
that's right. I think it was just so dominant from Argentina. All the action was down, like in Scotland's half. Like I say, what was that? 4 tries. 4 tries were scored in such 5. If you go 5 tries in such quick succession, that's a try every 5 minutes. Quick math. That's a try every 5 minutes. I remember them scoring 2 and 3, and I was like, holy shit, this can't be happening. And then even at the very end, you knew like Scotland were going to lose, but that final try was so sloppy. It was just absolutely like final dagger to the heart. Just a big fuck you. We are here to not just beat you, but actually embarrass you. We've came from so far behind, and fuck you guys. Game, set, match. It was so. As soon as that try was scored, me and my sister were watching the game, and I was like, maybe it's time we put on a film instead. It was honestly just, that was it. The boos around Murrayfield, like you say, from Townsend. Oh my goodness, he must be feeling it. Yeah, I've not. You know something? I've been so angry. I haven't even watched the conferences, like the post-match conference. I just didn't want to. Have you heard or seen much about it? What's Rooney's been saying? What's his excuses? I heard two Plotty's interview. Two Plotty was basically saying not good enough, no matter what, just not good enough, which is fair play from the captain.
Well, Townsend's basically come out and I think he knows like the writing is on the wall a wee bit in regards to, of all the things not to happen and what has happened, you don't lose to Argentina and then you go and lose to Argentina. I think he knew there was a lot of pressure to be coming.
Oh yeah.
And the thing that strikes me, and we were talking about this before we started recording, tide has really turned against Townsend, and the fact you get kind of nominal, kind of middle of the road guys like, for example, Andy Bark, one of the main senior reporters for the BBC. I would never say that he's been open against Townsend, but certainly I think by his language and by what he said, and I could be wrong, I think he has been a little bit disappointed with how the SRU have handled it, and bigger fool them. Like, the SRU, they announced, yeah, let's give them a contract extension, not just before the Six Nations next year when it was originally meant to run out, but after, like, not even after this autumn. There's been, it's not, it's not just this individual game. This has been going on, as I alluded to earlier, probably since 2021 when he fell out with Russell again. He was fortunate with how that played out. Then he was fortunate with the emergence of the Hugh Pilotu partnership. And he has now been, I would say, running off a steam since then. Yeah, the fact of the matter is, well, we told yous also. And the fact that the crowd has only taken till now, it's like, well, it's too late now. Townsend has gotten an extension until the 2027 World Cup. That's about 2 years away, 400k a year. It's going to cost about 800k to get rid of him, and for any equivalent on the same amount of money, with the exception of Franco Smith, who I believe would be centrally tied to the SRU anyway. I could be wrong on that, but don't quote me. You're easy speaking a couple of million quid to get rid of Townsend and his staff and to replace him. Now, they're not going to do that for two reasons. One, financially, they've just recorded another loss, albeit they say that in a couple of years' time they're going to be breaking even, and maybe even making a profit. The second reason why Townsend will not be going anywhere is because Alex Williamson and David Nusafora, who are both very new in their roles, they have backed him, and they don't want to turn around and be like, yeah, we've actually been wrong about our first decision, big decision we've had to make. And they have really backed themselves into a corner now, and I don't know how they're going to get out of it.
Boycotting? Do you think we'll be boycotting the Six Nations?
I think it'll be very interesting.
I'm not trying to start anything. I'm not trying to suggest it at all. But why would you go, like, you're supporting your country, supporting players you love to see play, but when they're getting coached by somebody who you think is not fit for the job? You see it happen before. You do some, maybe not in rugby, but in football especially. There needs to be some sort.
Rugby isn't football though.
But yeah, what is he getting? What is Townsend getting paid for? As you said, he's not beat any of those top four. He's not beat New Zealand, never beat South Africa, never beat England, never beat Ireland. He has beaten England multiple times. There's only team he's beaten multiple times is England. But he's not beaten them three, who are the three kind of big dogs. Okay, he's beaten France. He's got an alright track record against France. Fair play to him. But France were maybe on a bit of a dip when he kind of took over. Not anymore though. I don't think they've beaten too recently anyway. But back to the point, not beating those three teams, being grouped at 2 World Cups, and he's not finished higher than third in the Six Nations. I know your answer. Leave it rhetorical. Leave a comment down below, guys. What do you think? Do you think Townsend should stay? Do you think he's worthy to stay till the end of the Six Nations? Do you think he's worthy to stay until the World Cup? I know my answer. I think I know Andy's as well. But I'll let you give your kind of tuppence worth down in the comments below.
Well, to bring it back, and I'm not going to comment on Townsend because everybody knows what my thoughts are, but the thing for me was, you were saying there why folk would go and support Scotland at the Six Nations. For likes myself, I've only been to Murrayfield once post-COVID.
Yeah.
And I would be up. It's not just, you go to support the team or whatever, but it's like it's a day out. The anthems, depending on what, if it's the later game on the Saturday, then you watch the earlier game at Murrayfield, having a few drinks, something to eat on the big screen outside Murrayfield. There could be the rugby guy doing the goose step and everything.
I met him last week.
And it's more to it. You're not wrong with the whole, you're going there to, like, if people wanted to make a bit of a protest to the SRU, then yes, don't buy a ticket. But it's not as simplistic as what some might think it to be. Like, there's more to it than just, if we don't buy tickets, then we're going to, make our voices heard. I have to say though, regardless of what happens this weekend against Tonga, if Scotland come last this next year in the Six Nations, I don't think they will, but if they do, Townsend Well, either off his resignation or he will be paid out by the SRU, because this is clear regression if ever I've seen it.
He's getting paid too much to leave by his own back. You won't get a job as better paying than this. I don't think there's any. Why
Well,
would
I
you?
don't know. I mean, he's in line to take over at Newcastle. That gig's still open, is it not?
Well, it's true. That's true. But again,
That
given what's just happened, could they change their mind? Newcastle, they're looking for success. I know Newcastle and success don't usually go in the same words. However, they did win at the weekend. Doesn't usually go in the same words. But yeah, they're looking for success. But yes, that's another thing we haven't touched on. His role within Newcastle Red Bulls whilst being Scotland head coach. I mean, again, I just don't think that sits right with a lot of Scots. All the things are stacking up against him currently.
for fact checking, he's not with Newcastle Red Bull. He's just with Red Bull themselves in the rugby division, and he would, in I think a couple of days, a month or something, he goes and does whatever with Red Bull. I think he was on about meeting with Jurgen Klopp.
Mm-hmm.
It was very obvious, though, from the get-go that this could pose as a potential distraction and it could be used against him very easily and cynically. Not even by us, because we have said plenty of stuff before the Red Bull thing about Townsend not being kind of good enough for the job.
Uh-huh.
And this has been so entirely predictable, it's unreal. But yeah, I don't know about you. I don't know where the SRU go from here. Yeah, I mean, any notion from that 20 minutes of, I would say, dominance that Scotland had against the All Blacks at the beginning of that
Mm-hmm.
second half last weekend, any notion of that gives any Scotland fans any hope of winning next year's Six Nations is completely out the window. The fans have lost faith, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to Murrayfield for the day out, like I said, rather than for competitiveness or any chance of winning the
Yeah,
tournament.
like it was back in the 2010s, back in the day when you turned up expecting to get absolutely pummeled by Wales, and they're just there for the crack. Sometimes these were the better days. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, in terms of replacement, not really got to touch on replacement too much. Actually, I'm not at all. There's no point because he's not going to be gone until at least after the Six Nations. But definitely, it's got to be somebody from within. I feel maybe somebody a bit cheaper because they'll be like thin in their pockets. Yes, our youth will be struggling a little bit for finding the wonga to pay for somebody of quality. But as you mentioned before about Franco Smith, if he is SRU like kind of contracted, like, there'll be some sort of kind of thing there. He'd be probably the most common candidate if he wants the job. One people have seen it and going, fuck that. That generation's gone. And I do fully believe that golden generation is just at the very end of its span. I don't think it'll last to the World Cup, being honest. I think it's just at the end of its span. The Six Nations are not at all. We've been saying that for the past 3-4 years. Is this Six Nations are not at all.
I am willing to be proven wrong, and I was proved wrong by the performance of Grant Gilchrist. No, by the
Yeah.
performance of Grant Gilchrist, I was proven wrong by him against the All Blacks.
Mm-hmm.
He, for me, is the only exception to the rule of, I think they'll all be there at the next World Cup. The emergence of Gregor Brown, I think it was unfortunate with how his game got disrupted at the weekend. But no, that was, yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, you're maybe right enough, but it's more like an age thing as well. Though, like Russell, even Tupelo, Van der Merwe, they're all going to be like coming on to like mid-30s. But I think they'll be maybe 33, 34. I mean, for backs, it's for all that kind of age. You know what I mean? Especially as a winger, Duhan. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm a little
We've
bit
got
nervy.
Scotland are exceptional at producing backs. I mean, you've got Kyle Rowe, who's not even had a sniff this autumn. I'm
That's
not
criminal.
concerned about. Yeah.
That's
So yeah.
criminal. He's not got any time. Absolute criminal.
Well, we love being very joyous and upbeat and optimistic on the Think Rugby podcast, but be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Yeah, I'm done, Zav. Are you?
I'm gutted. I'm gutted. Yeah, like I know it sounds really toxic, but it's been a one massive event and one massive run. But I think it's what the people need and what the people are expecting to hear. Being perfectly honest, anyone disagrees and thinks that any kind of salvation from that performance from Scotland, please leave a comment down below because I'd be fully interested to get you on the podcast to see what you mean by that. But no, I'm done. Physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted by Scotland over the past couple of weekends. Yeah, that's all from me on.
Yeah.
You can sign it.